Hello, welcome to today's video diary for Finding My Way with Pi, Purpose, Intention, and Emotion. I am Pi, and forgive the background noise. Home, it's in the evening, and the family's home as well, so the boys are watching some football. I will tell you the emotion of the day is what feels like a struggle as being a parent, being a mom, with setting boundaries and rules and leaving enough space for our kids to learn who they are and for us to see them. It's an interesting thing. I want my children to be able to discover themselves. I want them to be able to discover the strength they have within themselves to know what their heart tells them, to learn how to have healthy relationships, to learn what to do if they make a mistake, to be in an environment where it's safe to make a mistake, to learn how to deal with day-to-day things that we all have to learn how to deal with, like working and bills and having to mature, to grow into adulthood. And it's just, it's not always pleasant. I got to take a walk with a great friend today. We take a walk once a week together, and today we were talking about how her cousin shared with her, and he's probably in his 20s, and he said, man, I just wish I could tell teenagers to just enjoy it while they can. It's like everybody wants to hurry up to get to adulthood, but it's not just freedom. It's actually you work in order to have your freedom. You got bills to pay, you got all this stuff to do. And, as parents, when we begin to step that up for our children to learn how to be self-sufficient and to do those things, and they do it starting small. Just pay for car insurance, just pay for gas and car insurance, just pay for if you feel like you want to go to Starbucks. I'm not going to pay for that all the time. So if you want to do that something, you need to pay for that. Those types of things. And balancing for them, normalizing for them that it's not a punishment. And also teaching them that there are some things, like our smartphones, for example, where we are beginning to understand that we need distance from our smartphones, right? Like we need time to disconnect from them so that we can be connected with other people, so that we can be outside in nature, so that we can be interconnected with the world, which we don't get at, or maybe I should say we only get at kind of a superficial level through our smartphones. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm simply saying in moderation, or to have some balance with it, because we have to have balance with the other things that bring us well-being. Those types of things are challenging to teach as a parent. So it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing raising kids, because it's almost like they interpret sometimes the rules as us not seeing them, when in fact we can just see further down the road, and we're doing the best we can and loving them as best as we can. It's such an interesting, sometimes feels like a power struggle in a way. So I'm talking about this today because the power struggle can feel hurtful. It can feel hurtful for mom. It can feel hurtful for my teenager. It can even feel hurtful for my son, who's a 6th grader. the power struggle, I think, can be misunderstood. And so what I want to do, while still providing appropriate guidelines for growth and learning as a parent to my child, I don't want it to be a power struggle. Rather, I just want it to be a connection, a place where even when we may have difficult conversations, they're still deep and meaningful, and there's learning, and we're focused on the things that help us nurture and thrive and flourish, instead of diminishing and making small and forcing, that we are examining, is it necessary that it happen exactly this way, or is there a way that my kid can learn how to have some autonomy here, and that's just fine too, just maybe a little more uncomfortable for them. It's just an interesting dynamic. The hurt that happens sometimes from the misunderstanding of maybe intention on each part, or shoot, I mean, there's been times when I think I may have just automatically followed a pattern that was there that doesn't fit for my kid, and I needed to step back and parent myself for a second and examine where I was coming from, what I was thinking, and try to see my kid and go, maybe this other approach would work better instead. But it is not easy to do that in the moment. And so that's where that tension exists. So I think it's important to come back to conversations, to reflect on them, and if needed, to cool down for both parts. Because even if I'm calm, my kids don't always feel that way, and sometimes vice versa, I guess, because we're all human. I think a parent's greatest wish at the end of the day is to have a connection with their children. And we are human too, and we make mistakes. I do believe our children want that connection with us. My greatest hope for my relationship with me and my kids is that we have the courage to be vulnerable with each other and honest with each other, and that we can meet each other where we're at and continue to learn and grow as humans, knowing that that journey's never over until life is over. And now all that is like, man, that feels like easier said than done. But that's what's on my mind. So that's what I'm talking about today. Trying to remember what's most important for me. So thanks for being with me on this journey. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope it helps you too. I'll see you tomorrow.